Hello everyone, good evening. I hope you all are doing well. So, I welcome you all to this session of Lie Excellence, and I am going to cover answers of environment questions asked in prelims 2021 examination. Now, this year exam, as UPSC continued its trend from the 2021 onward, asking many questions in environment and ecology. I have been telling to candidates all over India that this subject is very important, and along with geography it becomes really a very important subject. You all know that environment as a subject is linked with many other areas of general studies. Geography is one part, but along with geography, biological aspect comes there, science and technological aspect comes into that, even economic aspect also comes into that. So what I'll now do is that I will go through the answers of all questions which have been asked in exam. If we take into account environment and including those areas which are connected with geography, agriculture, and then also other areas of GS, so there are around 24 questions asked in environment in this year exam. So 24 questions matters a lot. It has a lot of weightage, right? So please don't neglect this subject, prepare this subject in a better way, and I'll come to the cutoff at the last part of the discussion. But let's first go to the answers of the questions one by one. So I thank Lie Excellence for inviting me for this discussion session. So I thank the entire team. So let's go to the answers here. First question. So this is from the part of the question here. So let us see here. The question number which is here, why is there a concern about copper smelting plants? Smelting process where a metal smelting and the copper as a metal. So there it requires a lot of air, oxygen, smelting is done, and it forms sludge or slag. So if you look at three statements are given. First one, they may release lethal quantities of carbon monoxide into environment, right? Second statement, the copper slag can cause the leaching of some heavy metals into environment. Third statement, they may release sulfur dioxide as a pollutant, right? The answer is D, all of this, because the smelting process releases sulfur dioxide. There is also release of toxic metals like copper will be one, then there will be other cadmium, chromium, other heavy metals which are highly dangerous for human health, right? Now next question here. Question number 18 asked in this set group A. There is asked the question that with reference to furnace oil, consider the following statements. Number one, it is a product of oil refineries. Number two, some industries use it to generate power. Number three, its use causes sulfur emissions into environment. Now the question asks is which of the statements above are correct? A, 1 and 2 only, B, 2 and 3 only, C, 1 and 3 only, D, 1, 2 and 3. So here the answer is all of these are correct. See, this furnace oil is called bottom of the barrel. In the oil refinery it is formed and is heavier there, and it is cheaper, is a very inexpensive kind of fuel, and many industries sometimes in the power plant and all where it requires fuel for getting heat and thermal application, they use the furnace oil, and that just like fossil fuel, when you burn furnace oil, it will release the toxic gases to the environment, it will pollute the environment, right? So that's what the first statement is correct, product of oil refineries. Second statement correct, generate power, some industries use it, is a inexpensive kind of a source and causes sulfur emission, just like any fossil fuel, coal and all, hydrocarbon, it also releases sulfur. So all three are correct. So the answer will be D, 1, 2 and 3. Moving on, next question. A very direct question. This year in the exam, there are certain questions which are very directly asked. Either you know or you don't know. Like here, blue carbon, black carbon, brown carbon, right? One studies in the classroom there. Blue here means ocean. You have studied in carbon cycle that oceans absorb carbon dioxide gas, greenhouse gas, sequester it, right, and converts into carbonate and bicarbonate. Now the answer here, what is blue carbon? Carbon captured by oceans and coastal ecosystem. Like coastal ecosystem, mangroves and all. In photosynthesis, they capture the carbon dioxide gas, converts into carbohydrate. So the answer here is A. right? A simple direct forward question. Now coming to next question here. Question number 20. In the nature, which of the following A's are most likely to be found surviving on a surface without soil? Without soil, right? Without soil. You will find lichen or lichen or lichen. Lichen or lichen is basically a symbiotic form of cyanobacteria, blue-green algae and fungi. Mosses are primitive type of plants, right? They are found to grow in shady area, shady area and the moist area, and they are very, very small roots. Sometimes the container you will get mosses. So the answer is 2 and 3. Mushroom, you know, is a decomposer. You will find in the trees and the dead part there, and mushroom grows on soil also there. Fern is a plant, ornamental plants and all. It also requires soil for growth. So without soil on the surface, answer will be lichen and moss. So answer will be 2 and 3. So answer is C, 2 and 3. Moving on. Next question 21. A very direct question has been asked. Natural mosquito repellent. Nowadays in market is sold there, mosquito repellent, and naturally it can repel the mosquitoes. And 4 options given here: Congress grass, elephant grass, lemon grass and nut grass. Here the answer is lemon grass. What is the answer here? Lemon grass. Lemon grass is today used in home also, where we use the lemon grass with the tea, making tea and chai. We have a lemon grass also there, right? So it also has a mosquito repellent properties. Congress grass is Parthenium, is an invasive species. Congress grass, elephant grass, they are the invasive species there. The correct answer is C here, lemon grass. Now moving on, next question. This question is from food chain. In ecology, you study the food chain, food web, right? And the question about the producers. Who are producers? They are the starting point of food chain. They are capable of making their own food, autotrophs, right? Like here, see the question what is asked there. Consider the following kinds of organism: 1. Copepods, 2. Cyanobacteria, 3. Diatoms, 4. Foraminifera. See, in UPSC exam, you may not be aware of all types of living organisms. But if something you are aware of it, you can make it out from elimination. The correct answer can be given. You all know that in sea and ocean, marine ecosystem, phytoplanktons are capable of synthesizing food with the sunlight because they have green pigment, chlorophyll. Like diatom is a phytoplankton. So you know that 3 is correct because it is a producer. Diatom is a phytoplankton. So if you eliminate here, so A, 1 and 2 is done, will not be there. B has got 3, 2 and 3. So either B will be answer or C will be answer. C is 3 and 4. D again has 1 and 4. So you know 3 has to be there. So you have eliminated 2 options A and D, left with B and C. Now again you know cyanobacteria, blue-green algae. Cyanobacteria is a form of bacteria which contain the green pigment, and they are also capable of doing photosynthesis. Like for example, nostoc, Anabaena. And cyanobacteria can be found in soil, can be found in the freshwater sources. Even you can find in sea and ocean also. So you know that cyanobacteria can also synthesize food. They are photosynthetic bacteria. So definitely 2 will be correct. So given the choice B for Bombay, 2 and 3. So the answer will be B, right? Answer will be B. But you may wonder what is then this Foraminifera? It's type of marine species which is again consumer, can feed on the things and survive. Copepods are zooplanktons. Zooplanktons. What are zooplanktons? They are not able to make food. They depend on phytoplanktons, right? They are called zooplanktons. Now coming to the question number, next question. Very interesting question. See, in the current affairs, you have all read about pangolins. In India, we have Chinese pangolin and Indian pangolin, right? And they're anteaters. And whenever the pangolin, if anybody attacks or any threat they have, they curl up, they fold to protect themselves. They roll up, right? So this you would have read in current affairs. You know that this question here, consider the following animals: hedgehog, marmot, pangolin. Now what is the question asked? To reduce the chance of being captured by predators, which of the following organisms rolls up or roll up and protect its or their vulnerable parts? So you know pangolin is the one. So 3 you are aware, right? So 1 and 2 only you are not aware. Now 1 and 3 is given there. So either it will be C as an answer or D as an answer. Now if you see hedgehog, hedgehog is also animal which also fold itself. It's a very factual question. Either you know or you don't know. So 1 is also correct. But marmots are those animals, they resemble like squirrel and all, and they are found in cold area. Like in Himalayan range we have marmots. So they don't fold up. They don't. So what is the answer here? 1 and 3. So here the answer will be D. D for Delhi. 1 and 3. Pangolin and hedgehog. Armadillo, hedgehog, hog, then pangolin. They can roll up, right? So answer is 1 and 3. Very interesting question. D as an answer. Now moving on, the next question. New York Declaration on Forest. Now this is a question from current affairs. New York Declaration on Forest. So 2014 Climate Change Summit, it was brought. India was initially not a member, and it sets up target and goal for restoration of forest conservation. They have a goal for 2030. So this question here, with reference to the New York Declaration on Forest, which of the following statements are correct? Number 1, it was first endorsed at the United Nations Climate Change Summit in 2014. Correct. It endorses a global timeline to end the loss of forest. Correct. That is the objective. It is a legally binding international declaration. Wrong. See, targets, goals, these are not legally binding. There is no punishment if anybody doesn't fulfill that. So the third statement is wrong. Fourth one. The fourth one is here, that it is endorsed by governments, big companies, indigenous communities. Correct. It's a participatory kind of international program to protect the forest. So that is correct. Fourth is correct. Now fifth one, India was one of the signatories in its inception. That is wrong. 37 governments are there, but India joined later, but not initially. So here the answer is 1, 2 and 4. That is A for apple. 1, 2 and 4. That is the answer. Moving on. Next question. Magnetite particles, right? They are nanoparticles which are released from exhaust of the vehicles, even thermal power plants and all, and they because contain iron particle. Magnetite is a oxide of iron. Either because of friction or because of burning process they are emitted to the environment. Now look at the question here. Magnetite particles suspected to cause neurodegenerative disease, right, are generated as environmental pollutant from which of the following? Sources are being asked. Number 1 is given here, brakes of motor vehicles. You know the brake. Again the iron and all contains friction happens there and get heated up. So there is such fine particle, 200 nanometer and less than that, can be released to the air. So 1 is correct. 2, engines of motor vehicle combustion process is also correct. Third, microwave stoves within home. Again that is part of heating effect. Power plants, right, telephone lines. So the answer here, right, is the, again you know that in UPSC exam there are certain questions where you have doubt. That discretionary aspect comes into that. So there is a possibility that the answer can be D also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and answer can be also in terms of most probably if you look at suspected the brakes 1, 2 and 4 can be the bottom, right. So that can be. So again it depends on UPSC how it consider the answer here. Now coming to the next question, which one of the following is a filter feeder? These are animals which feed. This is from the ecological aspect, feed and they filter and feed it. Option given, catfish is the variety of fish, is not a filter feeder. Octopus is benthos, bottom dwellers, is again consume and eat, is not a filter. Oyster is there, C is the answer. Pelican bird, pelican bird capture the fish and swallows it, is not a filter feeder. So the answer will be oyster, bivalve kind of organism, they filter it. So oyster. So answer is C, right? Here the answer is C here. Now coming to the next one, again a direct question, a very simple question has been asked, that is linked with the phosphorus cycle. What is the question here? In case of which one of the following biogeochemical cycles the weathering of rock, right, is the main source of release of nutrient to enter the cycle. weathering of rock comes in two cycles, sulfur cycle, phosphorus cycle. But question says main source of it. In sulfur cycle, sulfur can be released by volcanoes, geysers, burning of fossil fuel, and also weathering of rocks, sulfate and all. But in phosphorus cycle, it is primarily, mostly, mainly weathering of rocks. So here the correct answer is C. C for Chennai, phosphorus cycle. Not carbon cycle, not nitrogen cycle, not sulfur cycle. Right? C as an answer. Now moving on, very important question. Again, you can eliminate and get the correct answer. Question is, which one of the following are detritivores? What are detritivores? Which feed on dead matter, dead organic matter. Right, like fungi and all, you know that. Dead matters. Earthworm, friend of the farmer, is a detritivore. In soil, the earthworm, right, this agriculture residue, leaves, they break down. And you know the compost, vermicompost, earthworm becomes. So earthworm is definitely a detritivore. They feed on the dead organic matter in the soil. Jellyfish is not there. Jellyfish is marine or species. They consume and eat. Is not a detritivore, right? So if you know earthworm is a detritivore, but jellyfish is not there, that means the option should be such that there has to be one, but not the two. So if you look at the option A, 1, 2 and 4, both are there, so eliminated. B, 2, 3, 4, because 2 will not be detritivore, so B is eliminated. C, 1, 3 and 5, that can be possible. And D, 1, 2, 3, 4, again 2 and 1 coming together will not possible. It will be 1, but not the 2. So even though if you don't know millipede, seahorse, woodlice, you will be able to eliminate from 1 and 2. So the correct answer here is C. C for Chennai. Earthworm, millipede. Millipede are also on small type of worm which on wood and all is them. House lice, that's wood lice also, they are able to break down there, right? They are able to do that. So this will also be possible there. So here the answer is 1, 3 and 5. Right? So answer is here C as an answer. The answer is C. Right? Now moving on. Next question here. The next question here is direct from current affairs and carbon emission, climate change aspect, and UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, carbon metric measurement. You all know about carbon footprint. The amount of carbon dioxide or carbon emission, greenhouse gases released from human beings, the human activities, right, in tons and gigatons in a year. Now in the building processes, the amount of carbon emission, the carbon footprint, that is measured by this particular measurement unit called as a common carbon metric. So common carbon metric supported by UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, has been developed for A. What is A here? Assessing the carbon footprint of building operations around the world, wherever the building are there and amount of carbon emission there, right? For that carbon metric comes there, right? Now next question here. This question is again applied question. Again from ecology, biotic interaction, symbiotic relationship. Now what is the question here? Which of the following species have species that can establish symbiotic relationship with other organism? 1, Cnidaria, 2, fungi, 3, protozoa. So the answer will be all. I'll give you example. Coral. Corals belong to the class Cnidaria. And you all know corals have symbiotic relation with marine algae zooxanthellae. Zooxanthellae live inside the coral polyp and carry out photosynthesis. You have studied that because of ocean warming and ocean acidification, this symbiotic relation is disrupted. The algae comes out of the coral and coral dies because of coral bleaching. So I am giving you an example. So 1 is correct. Fungi. I'll give you a very good example. Mycorrhiza. This is a symbiotic fungi with the roots of the plant. I'll give you another example. Lichen or lichen is a symbiotic relationship of fungi and cyanobacteria, blue-green algae. Protozoa. There are some Mutualistic protozoa. What is mutualism? Which benefit each other. Symbiosis is a form of mutualism, where two partners benefit each other, right? Two species benefit each other. So there are protozoans which live inside the body of animals like cattle, cows and buffaloes, and they support each other, they help each other, they benefit each other. So even protozoa is also correct. So the answer here is a D, 1, 2 and 3. All three are correct. So if you know the example, you will be able to find it out. Now next question, permaculture. Permaculture. Recent times it is a lot of highlight that about ZBNF, zero budget natural farming, right? So the same line like organic farming, ZBNF, permaculture. It's a very simple question. It's a comparison based question. Permaculture and the chemical modern farming. Now let's look at the question here. How is permaculture farming different from conventional chemical farming? Number one, permaculture farming discourages monocultural practices, but in conventional chemical farming, monoculture practices are predominant. Correct? What is monoculture? Only one type of crop. In permaculture, it promotes multiple cropping, intercropping. Statement number one is correct. Now statement number two, conventional chemical farming can cause increase in soil salinity, but the occurrence of such phenomenon is not observed in permaculture farming. Correct. In modern chemical farming, we use chemical fertilizers, right? Pesticides, herbicides that pollute the soil, water, and excessive use of fertilizer can cause acid, alkalinity, salinity of the soil. But in permaculture, we use green manure, compost, all those kind of mechanisms are used, biofertilizers. So the second is correct. Third one, conventional chemical farming is easily possible in semi-arid region, but permaculture farming is not so easily possible in such region. Wrong. Wrong. Is not true. Third statement is wrong. Permaculture can be done with less water. It conserves water with soil condition. On the other hand, chemical farming, where we require fertilizers and all, requires excessive water. It requires more water for irrigation. So this question is linked with agriculture and environment, right? So third statement is wrong. Now statement number 4, practice of mulching is very important in permaculture farming, but not necessary so in conventional chemical farming. Correct. Statement number 4 is correct. Mulching, which we cover the soil, it protects the soil moisture, at the same time soil nutrient, right? And that is practiced in such kind of a green farming, permaculture. So here the answer will be 1, 2 and 4. So the correct answer is B, B for Banaras. B as an answer, 1, 2 and 4, right? That is correct answer. Moving on, palm oil cultivation. Nowadays a lot of palm oil cultivation is making headlines, and particularly Indonesia, Borneo, Malaysia, big concern has been the palm oil cultivation, where the tropical forest been cleared for palm oil cultivation because of demand of palm oil worldwide, and that has endangered, threatened wild animals and biodiversity of that area, particularly the orangutan. Orangutan is a mammal, primate in that area. Now look at the question here. What is question says that? With reference to palm oil, consider the following statements. Number 1, the palm oil tree is native to Southeast Asia. Although today 90% has been grown in Indonesia, Malaysia, but we cannot say native. Can we say native? We cannot say native. It has come from West Asia. Then in Indonesia and Malaysia, rapid cultivation happened there. It's not native to Southeast Asia. Now second, the palm oil is a raw material for some industrial producing lipstick and perfumes, cosmetic products and all, they are made. Second is correct. Application part, where it is used. Third, palm oil can be used to produce biodiesel, is also true. So the answer is 2 and 3. So that is the correct answer here. That is a B, B for Bombay. 2 and 3 are correct, right? Now moving on, next question here. Among the following, which one is the least water efficient crop? Answer is sugarcane. See, millet, pearl millet requires less water. They can grow there. But question is least water efficient. Because sugar can require more water, tropical and all those conditions. So sugarcane will be answer. A as an answer. Now moving on, the next question. Question this one, climate smart agriculture. Based on that, this question was asked, climate smart agriculture part. Now if you see here, climate smart agriculture. Now what has been asked in climate smart agriculture is again based on the current affairs. Let me read the question first. In the context of India's preparation for climate smart agriculture, which of the following statements are correct? Number one, the climate smart village, right, sustainable agriculture and all those practices in India is a part of the project led by the Climate Change Agriculture Food Security CCAFS, right? This is an international body research program. That is correct. Second statement, the project of CCAFS is carried out under consultative group, right, on international agriculture research, CGIAR, headquartered in France, is also correct. When you study about this organization in the web, you will find this correct. Third, the International Crops Research Institute for Semi-Arid Area, ICRISAT, that is a research organization in India, and that is one of the research center in India, is one of the CGIS research center. Correct. Is also correct. All the three statements are correct. So the answer will be 1, 2, 3. D for Delhi. Answer is 1, 2, 3. Now moving on. Next one is here. This one is a question from geography as well as environment. Tropical rainforest, dense vegetation. The trees grows with canopy. Sunlight is not there. You have epiphyte and all, which climbers are there, right? The leaves and all which comes, they get broken down, decomposed. So that is what described here in a paragraph. The answer is D as a tropical rainforest. Let me read the paragraph here. Leaf litter decomposes faster than in any other biome, and as a result the soil surface is often almost bare. Apart from trees, the vegetation is largely composed of plant forms that reach up into the canopy vicariously by climbing the trees on or growing as epiphytes rooted on the upper branches of trees. This is the most likely description of A. Coniferous forest, B. Dry deciduous forest, C. Mangrove forest, D. Tropical rainforest. The answer is tropical rainforest. So geography, climatic zone, and also in environment ecology, biome. So answer is D for Delhi, tropical rainforest. Now coming to next question here. Another from geography and again from biome concept. Savanna, tropical grassland savanna. Right? It's a very simple question here. See what is question here. The vegetation of savanna consists of grassland. You know, tropical grassland savanna in Africa. So grassland with scattered small trees. You will have some small trees there, but extensive areas have no forest development. There is very little forest or no forest, no trees are there. Forest. The forest development in such areas is generally kept in check. The forest is not able to develop, kept in check by one or more or combination of some of the conditions. Now 5 conditions are given. 1, burrowing animals and termites, that you will not come, that is wrong. Number 2, fire, yes. Dry condition, extensive sunlight, and fire is there, always correct there. 2 is correct. 3rd, grazing herbivores, giraffe, zebra, all these herbivores which support in savanna grassland. So 3 is correct. Seasonal rainfall, scanty rainfall, very low rainfall happens there. That is also correct. And 4th, soil properties. Soil properties is not the part. So the answer is 2, 3, 4. What is the answer? 2, 3, 4. Fire, grazing animals, and seasonal rainfall are 3 factors, and they are characteristics of savanna grassland. So answer will be here C for Chennai, 2, 3, and 4. Now moving on, next question here. This one, moringa, right? Moringa, drumstick. Sometimes as a vegetable we eat drumstick. And second, tamarind, imli, tamarind, sour taste tamarind. Now this is very useful, very important question has been asked. Moringa, this concept following statement, moringa drumstick tree is a leguminous evergreen tree. Leguminous evergreen tree, wrong. It's not an evergreen tree. You can find in the arid, semi-arid area, dry areas also can be grown. Statement number 1 is wrong. 2, tamarind tree is endemic to South Asia, wrong. Is not endemic to South Asia. Though in India you will find growing it, it has come from other parts like Latin America and all, tamarinds are there. So second is wrong. Both are based on geographical aspect. Now third, in India most of tamarind is collected as a minor forest produce. True. Under Forest Rights Act FRA 2006, local communities as scheduled tribes and forest dwellers have been given the right to use minor forest produce, which include tindu, some kind of minor forest produce. It also includes the tamarind and all the seeds. Third is correct. Fourth, India export tamarind and seeds of moringa. Correct. There is big demand internationally, and China procures a lot of those seeds from India. So there is a export happens there. Fourth is correct. Livelihood of people depends on that, which provide such kind of seeds. And fifth, seeds of moringa and tamarind can be used in production of biofuel. Correct. Advanced biofuel can be done. So answer is here 3, 4, 5. The answer is 3, 4, 5. B. B for Bombay or Banaras. Answer is 3, 4, 5. So B is the answer there. This question has come from Down to Earth magazine. The source is Down to Earth magazine. Now look at question number 69 there. Consider the following statement. 3 names have been given: bacteria, fungi and virus. Bacteria, fungi and virus. Now what is question here? Which of the above can be cultured in artificial synthetic medium? Science and technology area there. Synthetic medium, artificial medium. Bacteria are grow in microbiology lab, in the hospital and all. We do the culture of bacteria. So that is correct. One is correct. Fungi, I'll give you example. Yeast. Baker's yeast. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is a common type of fungi which is yeast, which is used in biochemistry experiment, microbiology, and it is cultured in the test tube. So second is also correct. Virus. Viruses are between living and non-living, and virus can be cultured in vivo in the living condition, living cells, and also in vitro in the lab. Virus is also important. So the answer will be here, though it is given here 1 and 2, but I think it will be 1, 2 and 3. Again, I told you that there are certain questions where UPSC has the discretion to consider whether one option or second option. So even virus can also be cultured. So answer could be possible 1, 2, 3 also, right? Now moving on. Another one here, the last question here is again based on what is being used in the market. There is a word called triclosan, TCS. Triclosan, considered harmful when exposed to high levels for a long time. If one gets exposed for a long time, is most likely present in which of the following? See, triclosan has a bactericidal effect. Triclosan can kill bacteria, can remove bacterial contamination. So it is used in soap, detergents, right, toiletry items. It is used as a disinfectant. It is used as a personal hygiene products. So given the choice here, A, food preservative, it can be used as a preservative, but mostly it is used as a toiletries, right? So here answer is D. So option given: A, food preservative; B, fruit ripening substance; C, reused plastic containers; D, toiletries. The answer is D. Such kind of soap, detergent, disinfectant, personal hygiene kind of products. So answer will be D. D for Delhi, toiletries. All right. So now my take here, there will be so many questions asked this year in environment ecology, right? So environment ecology has become a very, very important subject. And since I am teaching this subject for more than 15 years, I have been always telling the student that you have to balance between static with dynamic area, theory part with the current aspect. Then only you will be able to solve maximum number of questions. So what I feel this year, looking at the question paper, all the segments there, questions are difficult also, direct question, factual question, and unknown areas have been asked, right? At the same time, there are questions which are very easy questions asked, very simple questions also has been asked. And this time UPSC has kept balance with all the subject areas. You'll find 15 questions, around 15 in polity, in history, in geography, all they are balanced out, right? So what my take is that last year for general category the cutoff was 92.5. I also believe that this year the cutoff will be between 95 to 100, right? 95 to 100, because we cannot say the paper was so simple that the cutoff will go higher. It will be around 95 to 100, right? So again, it depends on the performance of candidates all over the country. But is one thing is very clear, that you have to do your homework very well. And those of you who are getting 100 plus, you should start preparing for mains exam, because January you will have the main exam. So don't miss out the main exam. It's a golden opportunity for all of you. Those who are not able to go up to the cutoff level and they have not performed well, don't be discouraged, don't be demotivated. Start preparing for 5th June 2022, the prelims exam of 2022. Start preparing for that, and I'm very sure that you will be able to clear the 2022 exam. Now only 6 to 8 months are there. Start working on that. But those who are making to the cutoff, clearing it, start preparing for your main exam, right? So I'm very happy that I have been invited by LA Excellence to go discuss the answers of the question, and I will be very soon coming for the classes also there. So I thank Geeta madam, right? I thank Dr. Rambabu, and I thank all the team of LA Excellence for doing this wonderful work of getting to the authentic key and helping the students out. So I wish you all the best for all your exams, right? So I thank LA Excellence, and I thank all of you. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.